Final round. Final round this week.
We're going to talk about the Prestige.
Yeah, we're going to circle back. We're going to go back to 2003 or whatever.
800 clones just storming around New York.
Yeah, they're just drowning in a
pretty
vat
much exactly what this movie's going to be
every week. So this week, I mean, let's be honest here, fellas. There's nothing else to talk about with Spider-Man No Way Home. If we don't talk about it, we're assholes, which we've been talking about it like assholes. I love it.
Shout out Mike Mahaffey, who's constantly wrong about when trailers are supposed to drop. And said, this movie's been pushed back. It's not going to get a trailer. And then 3 days later, a trailer drops. So
I'm pretty sure everybody is disagreeing with you. Dude, this looks awesome. I'm glad I didn't watch this and it's potato quality online just to get a glimpse of it. I'm glad I waited to have my brain blown off. I was wearing protection, but I'm glad I was waiting for it to get blown off and to see just the transition between, oh, everything's fine. Hey, here's MJ and Spidey sitting on a roof to, oh shit, the world goes to nuts. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah. It looks good. Shout out Peter Parker's shoe game.
Yeah.
Shadow Jordan 1.
Nice.
Shout out. Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out Shadow Jordan 1s. I'm a big fan of that.
You think that he got a bonus for killing Beckett? What do you think? Mysterio's dead. Cha-ching. But no, I mean, to be honest, let's definitely break this down. All right. So first things first, obviously the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. Mysterio reveals Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And then there was a big gap as far as time between we heard anything until this trailer, right? So we're all going. Hopefully, Charlie Cox, aka Daredevil, shows up. Excuse me, my client, Peter Parker, is no way. It's not how he sounds, but he's no way Spider-Man.
What if it's Ben Affleck? Would you just melt if it was Ben Affleck as Daredevil, not Charlie Cox?
No, I want to see them both. I want to see them both.
Yeah, they're variants.
Everything now is just a variance. That's why I'm saying it's going to be 800 clones storming around New York City.
Which is a great time to call out the number one joke that I've heard, and Sam, you posted to us was, is there anybody that's not appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home? And somebody commented, Uncle Ben. Deep. That's brutal. And Peter's parents, they're also dead. But that's fucked up. Anyway, so again, it kind of kicks things off. Everything's going fine for Peter, and then he starts to realize the ramifications that the world knows he's Spider-Man. It's public enemy number one. Our guy J.K. Simmons, aka
Jack Santa Claus,
Jonah Jameson, is
Jonah Jameson
at the Daily Bugle. It's just ripping him a new one. That's a public menace, and there's no getting away from it. The FBI or whoever department is like, oh, you killed, the Mysterio. What's his flipping character's name?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Thanks for nothing. Thank you for nothing. Come on.
I don't remember Mysterio's actual name.
We're just gonna flip and call him Mysterio, unless somebody in chat knows his name.
Yeah, Mike, come on. You were wrong about the trailer. Why don't you be useful?
We got a whole bunch of people. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Joe. Shout out
While
to
they're
JP.
all potentially looking this up, I just want to point out again, because I feel like I talked about it the last time I was on here.
No, Ben.
Please, you gonna shit on Marvel movies now?
No. Because like I told you guys, I got super hyped when I saw this trailer. And outside of X-Men,
Quentin Beck,
Spider-Man's my boy. That I've watched all the movies, I played all the games. Spider-Man's my jam.
Yeah.
But J.K. Simmons is, and I don't care how old your grandpa is. J.K. Simmons is older than your grandpa. That dude could beat up The Rock.
I've only met.
You heard it here first. J.K. Simmons can beat up The Rock.
I've only met J.K. Simmons once, and it was for 20 seconds. Apple Store, Los Angeles, Sherman Oaks Mall. He walked up, put his laptop down. His wife was next to him, and he said, "I don't know what I did, but I broke it," and walked away.
Yeah, and it was in two pieces.
Yeah. No, it was definitely I don't know what I did, but I broke it and just left.
Jack Santa Claus grandpa picked it up and the thing broke. He just gave up. No, I can't compete.
Greatest 3 weeks of my life, J.K. Simmons. But I digress. Anyway, so obviously the antics are ensuing, and Peter goes. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this mess. And there's a little bit of a cut scene where we see some twinkly Halloween lights. Little twinkly lights. And what are those twinkly lights? Are they jalapenos? A little bit of chilies? No, they're flipping witches. So what does he think? Oh, let me go hit up the only wizard I know in this universe, Doctor Strange. Knock, knock. Shows up at Doctor Strange's place over at 122A Bleecker Street.
Hey, Benedict,
and the entire
bitch is here.
Yeah, that's Wong. It's a great Wong accent you did there. He strolls in. The whole place is covered in ice and snow, which is insane. So we don't even. Nobody online has addressed that, by the way. We're just like, that's what happens.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
what
it's
happens.
the Sanctum Sanctorum. There's ice in there. Got it.
Yeah, the sorcerer was like, it's too hot. It's too cold. Fuck it. He's like, Ernie's coming over. I got to make this place chilly because he runs hot, and he just blew it out. Was wall to wall snow.
Exactly it.
So rolls up, says, "Hey, can you help me make everybody forget that I'm Peter Parker, or the world forget that I'm Peter Parker?" And Wong says, "Do not cast that spell." And of course, Doctor Strange gives him a little wavy wave, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, bud." And Wong goes on his sabbatical vacation,
crossed.
right? And then we get a little winky wink, which is fine from Doctor Strange, and spell starts to happen, and suddenly Peter Parker starts to realize, dude, actually, like, this is just other people. I want them to remember.
Wait a minute,
that
the
I'm Peter
17-year-old
Parker.
didn't think about everything ahead of time?
Oh, weird. My girlfriend, my best friend, my only like adult figure, Happy Hogan. Man, Jon Favreau doesn't know you're freaking Spider-Man.
I put this on Stephen Strange. The whole thing is on Doctor Strange.
So that's where hang on. That is where
Peter Parker's a goddamn
theories start to come in, my man. That's where the tin hat comes back out again. So we start getting into fan theories because everybody believes that, Stephen Strange, while crass and egotistical and narcissistic and a sociopath, he believes he's always right and he knows everything, and that's great. I don't think he is definitely the person to not sit there and go, "Hey, remember that movie? It was a Christmas movie. It had that guy in it. Nah, every time a bell rings, the angel gets their wings. You remember that movie where like the guy disappears and the universe is no longer okay? Yeah, let's do that spell." You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he, as a person who recalls the name and artist and year, Doctor Strange, he's strange, I get it, does not recall those type of things and doesn't put them in his lexicon, right? Like Peter Parker is definitely one of the kids that call out like Aliens is an old film, but Doctor Strange, he would remember that. So when Peter calls him Stephen, Doctor Strange corrects every single person ever, Doctor. He doesn't go first name basis with anybody. Why would he allow Peter Parker to call him Stephen? Suddenly you start to think maybe it's not Doctor Strange. Maybe it's somebody else. And obviously we've heard this already with WandaVision and Loki, and Mephisto comes to mind. He's basically the devil of the universe who grants wishes. And would he give a shit if he knows the ramifications of what's going to happen? And a lot of the signs are pointing to that as a character that would be evil enough to grant that wish. Plus, a lot of people are just saying like, "Oh, well, Doctor Strange is such a, he's so I'm right all the time." Maybe that is him. Maybe he just hasn't learned his lesson hard enough yet. Maybe he'll learn that in the multiverse of madness. But I'm kind of leaning towards the not Doctor Strange piece.
So to build on your theory, okay? Because now we're spin foiling here, all right?
Yeah, we're spiraling out of control with my spin foil.
Doctor Strange is actually a clone of Hugh Jackman from The Prestige.
Yes. Could you imagine if Mephisto was played by Hugh Jackman?
I would lose my mind. I would go broke seeing that movie. I would see that movie every day.
I would just move into the theater.
A Twitter theory that I'm seeing online, and I think this was started by King Gathalion, who's another, he's been streaming for years, is that remember in Infinity War when Doctor Strange saw the 14 million something thousand things were,
Right.
and they won one.
Yeah.
What if Doctor Strange saw the one, but it wasn't them beating Thanos, it was them beating Kang the Conqueror, and everything is leading up until Kang the Conqueror, and this is the path that he has to take.
I'm okay
with
that.
So I saw that, and I'm like, okay, I don't think that's the case even a little bit, because
also, I mean, think about this. We just talked about Dominique being Ironheart and being in an MCU film based off of her show. What if Kang the Conqueror was introduced in Loki, but all of a sudden it's actually Kang the Conqueror, not Doctor Strange? He's not really necessarily doing magic. He's just from the year 3100, and he has the technology to warp time and space. And this is what happens. I need more tinfoil for this hat. I need more tinfoil for the hat.
And it's actually David Bowie.
The whole time.
We're bringing this back to the Prestige because now I'm going to watch Prestige
every single time. As long as we get Michael Caine, that would be great.
That's a good Michael Caine.
That's not bad.
Ernie does this shit where he'll do like one line from an actor and he'd be like, "Fuck, that's a really good Michael Caine."
What do we do when we fall down, sir? We pick ourselves back up.
We shit our pants.
But no, I think that. So the next part is obviously, then it's like a shotgun blast from there, right?
Yeah. Jump cut.
Antics ensue. Oh my God, the train that's splitting. It's like becoming, I don't know, a worm from Dune. Obviously, just chaos. But the biggest things for me is like the hype from the next several scenes. One of them is, this bright yellow lightning that could just be normal, whatever lightning, whatever. Yeah. But typically in the comics, this bright yellow lightning comes from Electro, played by Jamie Foxx, which we know is supposedly on the bill for this movie. So instead of having his like blue, hurt your eyes, now he's got a warmer color electricity based on the comic book, which is very cool. Then we see what could be, in a very small freeze frame, what looks like some kind of big wave of sand blocking electricity shot towards a Peter Parker. That could be Sandman, who has always been a double agent of the Sinister Six. And then we get the pumpkin grenade, which is granted not a pumpkin in the movies from Sam Raimi, but it's orange. Whatever.
You hear the Willem Dafoe laugh, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, I'm in." Yes.
Hype. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, that pumpkin grenade and that Willem Dafoe laugh triggers me very hard. It's not like a memory down memory lane. It triggers me from the Avengers Infinity War trailer where we saw a big Hulk running in a suit that never happened in the movie. It was in that trailer and it never existed. And I swear to Christ, if I don't see a Willem Dafoe just blowing shit up on a glider, I'm gonna lose my mind.
That when I saw the grenade, that's when I texted you guys because I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm back in because I saw Dom post. He was like, I don't care about the Sam Raimi movies. I was just like, well, you're wrong.
How dare you?
Listen, I think you're taking me wildly out of context.
I was like, well, you're wrong.
All of Sam Raimi.
Like, this shit's gonna be lit.
Dom doesn't give a shit about the Sam Raimi movies.
Which I was definitely watching Ash and the Evil Dead recently, so I'm like, yeah, screw you too.
The third movie is one of the best unintentional comedies of all time. I will put Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 up against
Jingle All the Way.
I was gonna say Army of Darkness.
Nice. There you go. Or you could put it up against a Mel Brooks, like Blazing Saddles. And if it was like satirical, like this is a comedy, these are comedies.
Dude, the dance scene.
You'd be hard pressed not to giggle your ass off.
They cribbed the dance scene for when they did the Joker. The whole thing with the Joker dancing down the steps was pulled directly from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, his
Yeah,
his arms shooting out and leg kicking out.
Best unintentional
and then finally,
in the last 20 years.
The next thing, what do we see? We see these gigantic octopus mechanical arms coming out of just smoke and dust, and then you hear, "Hello, Peter." It gave me chills hearing that man's voice say "Hello, Peter" again. I was like, I don't know what fucked up the spell that bad that this guy still knows is Peter Parker, but we're fucked. This is awesome because he's aged super well. He's still got that.
He's another guy that looks the same.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, man. I don't know what like vampire thing they're doing, man, but I'm all about it. But that gave me chills. And then, of course, you get all these breakdowns of like the next scene is like Peter Parker, aka our Peter Parker, Tom Holland, wearing the same suit, evidently from Spider-Man 3, the same like color and like texture suit from Spider-Man 3 when he tries to go to the play and doesn't get in and he's all but hurt or whatever. And then he puts the suit on. They're like, yeah, this moment you see the villain. It's very like center shot. People are dying. That's how much I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that like there are so many people that just put hours and hours and hours into not just like dissecting the frames and looking for little snippets of content, but actually putting like film theory into their ideas, right? They're like, oh, yeah, this center shot shows that this character is the most important. And if we're going to have a hero or protagonist to respond to that comment, it's got to be just as tight on that character. And he's clearly not as tight, so he's got to be talking to Tobey Maguire. Like that's, I love that. To me, like that's the best thing on the internet.
It's too complicated a way to explain the fact that they're going to get all the old Spider-Mans in. The easiest way to explain it, is when they added "I'm the Juggernaut bitch" to the Juggernaut in the movie. You know that the writers pay attention to the online zeitgeist around this and all of the memes. The easiest way to explain this is the Spider-Man finger point. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Every time.
The Spider-Man finger point's gonna happen in this movie. I can guarantee.
It's gonna be awesome.
Take it to the bank.
I can't wait.
I mean, unless they do like suddenly it's like the Spider-Verse where they just like have the spider sense wigglies above their head, like, oh, wiggly. And or if we get Spider Pig, that'd be great too. But no, I definitely enjoyed the trailer, and I'm glad we made it our final round today, because to me, like, there's all the Spider-Man movies, except for Andrew Garfield's, I didn't like it. He was probably comic book accurate dialogue wise.
I didn't really care for
enjoy him at all.
I liked his. I think he was my favorite Spider-Man. Maybe not him as the actor, but what they did, like the treatment of that Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like Spider-Man is constantly flipping around and having the best one-liners in the game. Like he's almost bored doing backflips and landing on a wall and then spinning a web out somewhere else. Like that, he's like, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna hit hard. Like he's definitely like any girlfriend you were ever afraid of. Spider-Man is definitely 10 times more fierce with his words. That's what I want in that character, and that's definitely what Andrew Garfield delivered. But I don't know.
But they also, I think, just the treatment of that Spider-Man, they also like really focus on like the science aspect of like Peter Parker's a nerd.
Yes, that's fair.
And they really leaned into it. Like the movies weren't as good, but that particular Spider-Man treatment was my favorite.
Nice. Of course, we get what's his face too in there as a police chief. It's gonna kill me. Gwen Stacy's dad, comedian, who's in the show Rescue Me. Dennis Leary, thank you.
Dennis Leary.
Goddamn.
He's in the Sandlot.
He's in the Sandlot. That's what you got from that? He's been in a shit ton of things. What are you? Oh.
He's in the Sandlot.
God, we are such kids in the 90s. What the fuck is this?
He's Smalls' dad.
You're killing me.
A stepdad, actually.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're right. Damn, it's been a long time since I've watched that movie. We'll play some catch when I get back, huh? Yeah, you're your mom. You're the man of the house now.
It's usually my July 4th go-to, but it's been a while since then. I'm gonna wait for Margo to catch up to appreciate Killing Me Smalls and Great Bambino. And I thought you said the Great Bambi. You mean that freaking deer?
I did actually reference, I don't even remember who I was talking to, but I did reference that my neighbor's dog reminded me strangely of Hercules, because I finally saw the dog in person, like up close, and that dog is enormous.
Just a huge jowl.
Yeah.
Drooling. Awesome. Well, sweet. Well, you know what, guys? That kind of wraps episode 18. Sam, I appreciate you joining us as always. It was really nice to have you on here for not a spooky content. You know, you can get shivers from all these things if you really try hard enough. But you know what? It's just nice having you around, buddy. Appreciate it.
I had to show up to talk about this Spider-Man trailer because I am pumped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Could you imagine if Sam Raimi makes like a guest appearance like Stan Lee used to? How dope.
Dude, even more hyped. But see, the only thing, this kind of goes back to, you know, when you guys first had me on and got me to watch Loki and everything. This goes back to what I was talking about there, though. The jumps between like the shows and the movies and the movies and the shows, it's hard to keep up with all of it, especially if they are actually tying all of it together. Yeah. And so like if if all the stuff that happens in this movie gets tied back to like Kang and everything they talked about in Loki, like that's a lot. And I'm still not 100% sure that I have it in me to watch like 37 movies.
I mean, you're talking to the right audience. This is a bunch of comic book nerds who used to hate having to get comic 27 because it was a crossover that referenced that one thing that happened that somebody said in one line, and you always get a little footnote like this was in Thor episode number 27.
That's why I like what DC is doing now. Where they're just like all of our movies are their own thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely more convenient. I'll give you that. It's definitely more convenient. But I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is definitely playing towards the paperverse of that. Paperverse that's not catchy enough. We got to go.
And how far are they into like phase whatever they're in? Didn't they have like a 10-year? Didn't they have like a 10-year plan or something that they released?
I think it's mid phase 4, right? We're definitely mid. I mean, we're in like 5 title things now. We got like maybe 12.
Because Endgame was the end of phase 3, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you get 3 years. We're probably into year 1, right? So we're definitely in the beginning. We're heading into the mids.
That's why the only thing that it wouldn't surprise me if that whole theory about it being Kang isn't actually that far off. Just because like I know the scripts aren't written for everything, but like the head runners of these movies, like they've got a plan. They've got the shit diagrammed out like Charlie's actual conspiracy board. Yeah.
No, I definitely I'm on your side of that. And I will say, I'm going to call out chat here. Going back and forth a little bit. One of the things that somebody called out was, you think Bruce Campbell will make a cameo? And Mike Mahaffey said, yes. He said, if not in Spider-Man, then definitely in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which was the April Fool's joke that got me so hard when Doctor Strange shows up. Yeah, and it was like, oh, the Necronomicon. It was like, oh, actually, that was April Fool's, you freaking dingus. I'm like, oh, man. I was hoping.
He will not, because Bruce Campbell is celebrating his retirement by living on his farm and smoking weed in his lavender fields. Not even a joke.
He might be too high to notice he's on the film. Or maybe he already filmed it, and they're like, all right, high five.
Yeah, direct comment from him. He is done acting after Ash vs. Evil Dead got canceled. He said, I'm going to go live on my farm and grow my lavender and smoke weed in the fields.
Hell yeah.
One day that'll be our everyday, folks. Well, that wraps it. It's all one day to hope we reach that sense of nirvana, go smoke weed in our lavender fields together. Episode 18 in the bag. Thank you very much, fellas. I'm Ernie Hawkins. I'm announced at the end of the show. I'm Ernie Hawkins. I'm joined, as always, by Dominic Irvin. Our special guest today was Sam Burson. Thank you again, Sam, for joining us. You can find us always at Joystick Maverick, Joystick Mav on Twitter because they have restrictions on names for some reason. Official Joystick Maverick on Twitch. Just look Joystick Maverick up. Guess what? I've cornered the market on that name. If anybody else says they're Joystick Maverick, they better have good lawyers. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Thursday or Friday if you're listening to us on the podcast, or if you're watching this next week. Enjoy this little clip here. But thank you. See you next time.
Good night.